welcome to the Northwest Treatment Vidcast.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Léa.
How you doing today, Jessica? What are we talking about, too?
Today I'm doing okay, but we are going to talk about a little bit of a hard topic, but we thought it'd be a good one, which is to touch on unemployment given the circumstances with COVID-19.
Yeah.
It's a fact of life for people now. And it's one of those things where it has often come up in our clients just historically. Unemployment has been really difficult as it does challenge who we are, who we feel we are, our self-esteem, how we relate to others,
Why is that?
As far as how it affects us?
No, as in like a lot of times we always talk about that unemployment definitely does affect your self-esteem and how we relate to others, but what is the reason behind that?
Well, it's really interesting because one of the things that I have learned historically was that if you grew up and spent most of your life in America versus most of the other, places in the world, when someone comes up to you, let's say on vacation, and asks, "Hi, who are you?" And, what do you, who are you? The first thing Americans will do is say, "Hi, my name is," and then will define themselves by their job. Hi, I'm an electrical engineer. Hi, I'm a gardener. Hi, I'm a librarian. Whereas people from around the rest of the world will say, "Hi, my name is, I'm a grandma. Hi, my name is, I love to read. I love to knit. They talk about things that define themselves in terms of, not necessarily their productivity.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a really interesting thing about our culture. And I think because of that interwoven dynamic of those of us that grow up in the US with the idea of who we are connected to commerce and productivity and the economy, when we don't have a job, or if we don't particularly like our job or feel like our job is a menial job rather than, say, a career,
right,
it can really hurt us mental health wise. It can cause us to really have not just a sense of can I or can't I pay my bills this day, but also who am I as a person?
Mm-hmm.
And that's been a historical struggle that we've talked about with clients forever. But there's really been an unprecedented situation with COVID-19. It is the highest unemployment nationally that we have seen since the Great Depression in the 1930s.
Right.
When this all started happening in March and April, prior to COVID, the US was somewhere around 3% to 4% of unemployment nationally. And as soon as this all went through, basically middle to late April, nationally, we were at 14.9% unemployment.
Which is
ridiculous.
Quite high.
Ridiculous. And it's
higher than those of us who remember 2008.
Exactly. And it's also one of those things where that's the average if you have a job or career in, say, hospitality or leisure, right? If it's customer service, if it's being a bartender, if it's, something having to do with the populace and the public, that's upwards of 20, 21% unemployment. That's scary.
It is.
That's also similar numbers if, as in that April, May and so on, COVID timeframe, percentage-wise, it was much greater for women, Asian Americans, immigrants, or people that didn't have a bachelor's degree. And that's been a similar, difference historically, but because of such the high unemployment, it's been really scary recently.
Yeah, and I mean, this time around, I think in 2008, it affected most people that I knew. And then obviously in 1929, when the crash occurred, it affected most everybody too. But I feel like COVID was different this time just because there were multiple people that we know who were affected by this.
Yeah, the interesting statistic I found from the worst section of unemployment from the Great Depression was in 1933, and the percentage of unemployment was 24.9% unemployment. Oof. So while it was still bad and it started in 1929, that worst time was the 1933. We still have not yet gotten to that high, right?
Right.
But it's hopefully, it actually has been, if you've been looking at some of the statistics since April, we are getting better. Like July was only 10.2 and September was only 7.9. People are getting back to work. There is, however, that kind of higher level of anxiety now connected to, if you're working, do you feel supported by your employer? Do you feel supported, being healthy, being safe, interacting with the populace? Are you having to make a decision to go to work, to keep your job, to make your money, but maybe threaten your health, more so than if you were staying home?
Right.
So while the unemployment is getting better, it's still a big issue.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of stress about, can we pay our bills or not? Which connects to people who own property and paying mortgages, or connected to rent. And what happens if I haven't been able to pay rent? And there's that, situation that was created where you could stay in somewhere you weren't necessarily being able to pay for, and they were not letting you, evict people, but it's still happening.
Right.
And it's scary. One of the things we're definitely going to make sure to do in the description of this video is to provide some connections with local Clackamas food banks, because we're based in Clackamas County. We'll also give you guys some data and some links to unemployment through oregon.gov. And then, as well as any articles from the Department of Labor Statistics, in case you're a bit of a data nerd, which sometimes I am. But really, it's just a matter of do what you can. Try to stay busy, give yourself goals, try not to let it get you down too much, and find something to do each day to kind of boost your feelings and your internal motivation to go to work, to look for work, to find something. And we'll figure this out one way or the other, even if it is really hard right now.
Right. And so one of the things that we also like to remind our clients is that if you're not able to pay for your services, don't just drop out. Come and talk to Jessica or I. We can usually figure something out. We can usually make it work.
Yeah, there's a lot of places, whether it's medical help, whether it's your insurance, Oregon has a great thing called the Oregon Health Plan, OHP. So if you lose your job and lose your insurance, there are some options there. Oregon unemployment has been caught up mostly at this point. So I have heard a lot of people who were struggling and didn't get their initial checks are now mostly having those come in. It took a while, but yes, again, this was an unprecedented amount of unemployment that was no way to prepare for. So we do the best we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, if any of you are struggling with any, unemployment issues, if you're struggling with the anxiety of going back to work, if you just want to reach out and talk, feel free to reach out to Léa or I through our website or our social media if you want to get engaged and have some appointments, or, just look at the resources we have on there to send you where it might be helpful for you.
Absolutely. And so with that, we wish you to be well.
Thanks, guys.